The first thing I noticed when I walked into our bedroom was not the silence. It was not the disheveled bedsheets or the slight indent of a second body on my side of the mattress. It was the scent, my scent, lingering in the air like a slap across the face. My perfume. Not the cheap knockoff kind. Not a similar scent. Mine. Exact. Undeniable. And I was not wearing it. Welcome to my story. I want to say a big thank you to all my subscribers. Your support means everything. To my new and returning viewers who are yet to subscribe, I am so grateful you are here. I hope you feel every word, every heartbeat of this story. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel that keeps this channel going. And do share your thoughts in the comments below right after this chapter. I read them all, and your voices matter. Now, let us go back to the beginning. Because that scent was not just a coincidence. It was a warning. My name is Emily Grant. I am 34. Born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I moved to suburban Virginia after marrying the love of my life, Jason. Jason Grant, my college sweetheart turned husband of 8 years, was the kind of man women wrote journal entries about. Tall, commanding, with a voice that sounded like secrets whispered behind closed doors. He was a corporate lawyer, sharp in suits and sharper in silence. I met Jason in a coffee shop after a particularly miserable morning. He spilled a triple espresso on my sketchbook and offered to buy me a new one. That night, we laughed over wine and chocolate cake. 6 months later, I was wearing his ring. But now, 8 years in, standing in our bedroom, I no longer recognized the man I married. The night I smelled her. It was a Friday. Rain had started falling before sunset. The kind of rain that made everything feel still and secretive. Jason said he would be working late at the firm. I believed him, until I opened our bedroom door. At first, it felt normal. Nothing looked out of place. But the smell caught me. It was not just perfume. It was my perfume, Nude Etoile, by Goodle, a rare fragrance Jason bought me for our 5th anniversary. Only sold in select boutiques. Only I wore it. And I had not sprayed it that day. I stood frozen for a full 30 seconds. Then I walked across the room and picked up the bottle. It was still on my dresser, still capped. Full. Untouched. So where was that scent coming from? I touched the bedsheet. It was warm. Not just body heat warm. Recent warm. Someone had been there. I knew it in my bones. I opened drawers. Checked closets. Even peeked under the bed like I was some sort of detective in a cheap soap opera. Then I saw something, tucked behind one of my pillows. A long strand of blonde hair. It was not mine. I had not been blonde since 2019. I walked slowly to the bathroom. That was when I saw the towel hanging behind the door, pink, floral, frilly. I only kept white towels. Always. I pressed the fabric to my nose and nearly gagged. She had used my body wash. She had used my bathroom. And she had sprayed my perfume on her skin. Whoever she was, she did not just sleep with my husband. She pretended to be me while she did it. Jason came home past midnight. I pretended to be asleep. I wanted to see if guilt would carry in his footsteps, in the way he undressed, in the temperature of his breath. Nothing. He crawled into bed next to me like it was any other night. Kissed my shoulder. Whispered, "Missed you." And I almost laughed. I watched his chest rise and fall as he slept beside me. The man I loved was now a stranger. And the stranger had taken our bedroom as her playground. 2 days passed. I said nothing. I smiled through dinner. I laughed when I had to. But I watched him. Sunday evening, I told Jason I was going to visit my sister. I drove around the block, waited 20 minutes, then returned home and parked quietly. The house was dark. But the window to our bedroom, the one I had washed just that morning, was slightly cracked open. I crept in through the back. Removed my shoes. Moved like a ghost. My heart thudded like it wanted out of my chest. Then I saw her. Not clearly. Just a glimpse of golden hair through the crack in the bedroom door. I backed away before they noticed. But before I left, I needed proof. Real proof. I went to our laundry basket and flipped through the clothes. It was there. A lace thong. Pink. Tiny. Not mine. Stuffed carelessly beneath one of Jason's dress shirts. The smell was unmistakable. She had left her scent on our sheets, her print on our towels, and now, her underwear under our bed. The first time Jason lied to me, he did it while pouring my wine. It was a Tuesday night in June. We were 3 weeks past our 7th wedding anniversary. I was barefoot in the kitchen, chopping rosemary for roasted chicken, wearing nothing but one of his oversized t-shirts. He poured the Merlot, kissed the back of my neck, and said, "I will be working late this week. Big trial coming." I believed him. Not because he was convincing. But because I wanted to. I spent years studying every angle of Jason Grant's face. I memorized the curve of his jaw, the lines at the corners of his mouth, the slight squint in his left eye when he pretended to be patient. I knew every sound his body made, the size, the cracks of his knuckles, the way he whispered "baby" when he wanted something. But somehow, I missed the signs when he started pulling away. He stopped touching me at night. Stopped noticing when I wore something new. Stopped saying good morning with his lips and started saying it with silence. We had sex twice in 1 month. Both times, it felt like a duty, like he was performing for a role he no longer wanted to play. He never looked me in the eye when he finished. I blamed myself. I met Jason in my junior year of college. I was 21, designing furniture on the side and waiting tables to pay rent. He was already interning at a top-tier law firm, sitting at a back booth with a drink and a stack of folders. He asked for a pen. I handed him one. He told me I had the handwriting of someone who kept secrets. I told him I had no secrets worth keeping. 2 hours later, we were laughing like we had known each other for years. Jason had a way of making you feel like you were the most important person in the room. He remembered details. Your favorite candle scent. The way you took your coffee. The exact dress you wore on your 3rd date. I had never been seen like that. He proposed after 14 months. Our wedding was in spring. I walked down the aisle under cherry blossoms while he whispered, "You are my home." I believed him. God, I really believed. The first year of marriage was a dream. The second was work. By year 4, we were living in a house with white walls, matching bathrobes, and scheduled sex. I decorated rooms while he collected late hours and promotion promises. He stopped coming to bed before midnight. Sometimes, not at all. He started spending more time at the gym. Then with colleagues. Then on his phone. I asked once, gently, "Is everything okay?" He smiled, kissed my forehead, and said, "Just tired, Em." Tired. He was always tired. But tired people do not smell like perfume that is not yours. Tired people do not shower twice before bed. Tired people do not flinch when you touch them. Her name was Lena Morris. She was 27, with long honey blonde hair and the kind of body that looked like it came from a Pinterest board. She was Jason's new assistant, hired 3 months before the perfume incident. I looked her up the night I found her underwear. Her Instagram was public. Her smile was bright and careless. The kind of smile you wear when you have not yet learned how fragile marriage can be. But what struck me was not her smile. It was her skin. She wore my lipstick. She curled her hair like I used to. And in one post, she was at my yoga studio, the one I had been going to for 2 years. I scrolled deeper. She had checked into the same wine bar Jason took me to for our 6th anniversary. She posted a story inside a model home. My model home. I had staged that house for a client. It was unmistakable. She had taken a picture next to a velvet green armchair that I custom ordered. That was not coincidence. That was obsession. I was in the kitchen when I finally broke. Jason had just come home from court, still wearing his suit, tie loosened, jacket draped over one shoulder. He kissed me out of habit, poured a drink, and started talking about a client as if nothing was wrong. I stood there, shaking. He took a sip of wine. My favorite, Tempranillo from a tiny vineyard in Oregon. I asked, without blinking, was she wearing my perfume when she ked you? He froze. Completely. His eyes widened for a moment. But only for a moment. Then he set the glass down and said nothing. That silence hurt more than anything he could have said. He sat down. Rubbed his temples. His voice came low, hoarse. Emily. I did not let him finish. I told him I knew about the panties. The perfume. The towel. The hair. The yoga studio. The way she was shadowing my life like some knockoff version of me trying to take the original's place. He tried to cry. But he cried like someone who had been caught, not like someone who was sorry. He told me it was not serious. That it was just sex. That he missed feeling wanted. I asked him when exactly I stopped being enough. He said nothing. So I walked out. I drove to my sister's place that night. Sat on her porch until 2 a.m. with a bottle of gin and a blanket. I told her everything. Every detail. She begged me to leave him. Told me to pack a bag, get a lawyer, erase him. But I could not. Not yet. It was not because I still loved him. It was not because I needed answers. It was because I needed revenge. The kind that made them feel it. The kind that made them look over their shoulders. The kind that reminded them I was not replaceable. There is a specific kind of silence that comes when you are finally done pretending. It is not the silence of heartbreak, or grief, or even rage. It is colder than that. It is quiet like steel. Heavy like truth. I sat in that silence the morning I planned the dinner that would change everything. Jason thought I was healing. Lena thought she had one. But I was not broken. I was calculating. The weeks after the confession were oddly calm. Jason cried. Bought me flowers. Cooked me breakfast he never ate. He tried to touch me in the shower one night, and I turned slowly to look at him, not with anger, but with indifference. I think that scared him more than if I had screamed. I told him I needed time. And space. He said he understood. But every night, I could feel the tension building. He knew I was slipping away, and it terrified him. But what he never realized was, I had already left. I started wearing lipstick again. Bought a red dress that hugged my body the way he remembered. I wore heels in the house. Sprayed his favorite perfume on my collarbone. Not the one he gave me. A new one. One only I would wear. I made him miss me. And I made her feel safe. Because the only thing more dangerous than a scorned wife is a silent one. 2 weeks before the trap, I told Jason I wanted to host a dinner. Just us. And a few friends. He looked relieved. He thought it was progress. I told him to invite Lena. I said I wanted to move forward. I watched his throat tighten before he answered. Are you sure? I smiled. Absolutely. I had everything planned. The wine. The table. The playlist. The seating arrangement. Even the perfume I would wear. It was a warm evening. My house glowed like it used to. Candles. Flowers. Perfect lighting. Jason looked at me like he did on our wedding day. Like he was seeing something holy. Lena arrived fashionably late, wearing a black slip dress and pretending to be humble. She brought a bottle of Pinot and a bouquet of red roses. She hugged me. And I inhaled deeply. She was wearing my perfume again. Only this time, I was the one who gave it to her. A week earlier, I sent her a gift basket under Jason's name. A card that said, "You always smell like heaven." Inside was a small bottle of Nude Etoile. She had no idea I sent it. No idea I watched her open it through a burner Instagram account. No idea she had walked right into my script. Dinner was flawless. I played my role beautifully. I toasted to second chances. I made jokes about marriage. Lena laughed too hard. Jason kept looking between us, his face tight with unease. I leaned in toward him, touched his hand across the table, and whispered, "You smell her, do you not?" He went pale. I let go. Then I stood up and excused myself to the kitchen, letting the silence trail behind me like smoke. I poured a glass of wine. Waited. 10 seconds. 20. Then Lena followed me. She smiled, unsure. "Emily, this is really lovely." I turned slowly and looked her straight in the eyes. "You wore my perfume when you ked him," I said. Her face dropped. The glass in my hand stayed steady. She whispered, "I did not know he was married at first." He said, "You wore my towel. You used my shower. You left your panties in my bed." My voice was cold. "Do not pretend you did not know. You studied me like a role. You tried to become me. But you failed." Her lip quivered. "He said it was over between you two. That you were done." I stepped closer. "He kissed me that morning. Told me I was his home. You were never going to be more than an escape." I saw something shift in her then. Her confidence broke. She dropped the act. It was not guilt. It was realization. Jason was never hers. He had just borrowed her body to escape the version of me that knew him too well. I returned to the table with her behind me. Jason tried to smile. I lifted my wine glass. "I want to make a toast." They both watched, nervous. "To Lena," I said, raising the glass. "For reminding me exactly who I married. And who I never want to be again." Then I turned to Jason. "You did not cheat because you were bored. You cheated because I stopped worshipping you. Because I started loving myself more than I loved your potential." His mouth opened. Nothing came out. I walked over, placed a small manila envelope on the table, and slid it to him. "Papers," I said. "Signed." Lena looked down. She read the header and gasped. "Divorce. Irreversible. Settled. Filed." I turned to her. "Oh, and the perfume?" "I laced it with oil that causes skin irritation. Should be kicking in by morning. Hope he is worth the rash." I walked out of the room, my heels echoing on the hardwood floor. I moved out the next morning. Not in shame. Not in tears. But in triumph. The house was no longer mine. Neither was he. But my power? My self-worth? That came back to me the moment I chose myself. I never saw Jason again after the divorce. Last I heard, he and Lena did not last more than 6 months. He returned to the dating apps. She moved to Colorado. But me? I live by the ocean now. I design interiors for women starting over. I burn candles that smell nothing like the past. And I wear a new perfume. One with no history. One that is mine alone. Because I am no longer trying to be chosen. I am choosing me.